Today, until vacuum do us part. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I want to show you some clips from the outside. Sometimes I know in these videos from far away, our houses can look clean and perfect and put together, but when you start putting that camera up close, this outside's really dirty. My chairs are rusting. I don't have flowers in the flower pots. There's mud all over our concrete from the boys. We've had one bush die in the back. So we have lots of little projects we want to work on. So this patio is ready to go for summer, but the very first thing we're going to do is mow just so the grass is nice and short and green and fresh, and then we'll get started on all those projects. Okay, so Chase is about to finish up mowing right here. Do not judge our yard. We have had the worst luck in Oklahoma with our last couple houses, but one day I'm going to show this view and we're going to have a beautiful, solid green yard. But until then, this is what you guys have to look at. But now we're going to work on our first project. So I grabbed this Rust-Oleum spray paint. Normally I just grab a normal kind of spray paint. This is always a little bit more, but it kind of helps with rust. And I was going to be spray painting these chairs outside. I love these chairs. They're just easy to clean. Kids paint out here. We eat out here, the rain. And so I thought about replacing them, but outdoor chairs are really expensive. And I feel like I already had the chair. They just needed to be revamped a little bit. So I grabbed those spray cans and we're going to spray paint these things. You guys know I love spray paint, so why not spray paint these? I only bought 2 bottles at first. I'm not sure what I was thinking, but I definitely needed 4. So if you're going to be doing a chair, what it seemed like is you need 1 can per chair. I wasn't really thinking I was going to do the bottom, but I didn't want there to be any gray left on them. So I started with them flipped upside down so I could get the under part. So if they ever get moved or you see them from a different angle, they're painted. And then I'm going to flip them over here in a little bit and do the top part. Typically with painting, I do it like on the side of my house so I don't have to have like cardboard out in the middle of the yard for neighbors to see. We are in our backyard here, but I went ahead and put them in the middle because as usual, it's pretty windy here in Oklahoma and I didn't want the black paint to hit like our fence or our white brick, and so I figured if it was in the middle of the yard we were going to be safe. And it was, so everything worked out well. I did put on a glove because sometimes the paint will get on my fingers, but I will say this can's designed really well because when I was finished spraying there was hardly like any paint on the glove. So I feel like this is just a really good design and the paint worked really well. Like I said, it's a little bit more money than most spray cans, but it was still like $8 a bottle, so super affordable, easy, affordable way to update. But while I'm letting that first coat dry, I had been telling Chase we needed to clean off this like mud and dauber at the top of our patio. We have a super vaulted patio and it's solid white, and I just kept seeing this mud stain up there. I'm going to show it to you in the next clip. So I was like, hey, we're working on the patio makeover. Can we please get that down? Plus, I don't want a wasp making my patio their home. So we're going to go and get the big ladder out. If you guys were following us when we bought this ladder, you'll have to let me know. It was back when we did like garage sale videos on this channel, and we found it for like $5, and so we grabbed it. We didn't know if we'd ever really need it, but it was hard to like pass up a good ladder for $5, and we've used it a ton ever since, so I'm so glad we grabbed it that day.
You know that I wanna see you're worth it. The way you treat me, I'm undeserving. Every day I'm with you, I think you're perfect. On a Saturday night.
While Chase finishes up getting all of that off, it's always like dried on there really well, so you have to do a lot of scraping and cleaning. So he's working on that in the background. I'm going to go ahead and flip the chairs over and start painting the top half now. This really does not take long at all. I can't wait to show you the before and after because it made such a huge difference, and it was under $50 to do. If I were to go buy new chairs, they would have been $50 each, if not more.
It's always gonna be you, babe. It's you, babe. It's you, babe.
Just in case you're wondering, I did go with a satin finish. At first I almost went with a matte, and I didn't know how well I could clean it. So this will get drier and not as shiny. Right now it looks glossy. It won't be that glossy when it's finished. I kind of wish I would have went with matte, and looking at the gray chairs, I think they were like a gray matte to begin with. So if I were going to respray these, I might go with the matte, but I did go with the satin just thinking I could clean them a tad bit easier. But right here, you're already seeing the transformation. It's amazing what $32 of spray paint can do. And if you just wait a little bit longer, I'll show you them once they're completed. But I did as much as I could with the 2 cans, and then we had to pause and go get more paint, so I finished them up in the evening. But while Chase had that ladder out, I wanted him to clean our chandelier that's up in the patio just because it's so high up there. I do not like heights. It doesn't bother Chase. And I knew it was dirty, but I didn't realize how dirty until I saw these clips of him cleaning it. He was holding the camera. That top just gets super dirty with all the construction going on. And then I wanted to show you the boys, and George was just living his best life while Chase and I were working hard outside. I get asked pretty often if having painted white brick is more of an upkeep, and I'm gonna say yes. If this was normal brick, it would still get dirty, but you wouldn't see it and you could just spray it down. But when you have a painted brick, even if it's black, white, red, blue, whatever, you're going to see it more, especially with the white. So it does have to be clean. So these like windowsills out here just get super dirty. The boys do jump up on them. When I say boys, I mean George, because Tiger isn't big enough. But we're also in a new neighborhood, so there's lots of construction going on, which means lots of dirt, lots of dust, and we live in like a wind tunnel. It is so windy in Oklahoma, but the way our house is positioned and where it is, I feel like it's even worse for some reason. I haven't quite figured it out. But you can see it cleans off easily, but there is maintenance. Anytime you have white paint involved, you are going to have to clean and maintain it. So if you're not one that enjoys working on your home, it may not be a really good investment to have your house painted because it will get dirty. Now we're going to clean off like all the concrete on our patio. I thought we might need our power washer, but everything was so fresh. It hadn't been on there long. It was just coming right off with just the water hose. We did have it on like the jet setting. but a lot of it was just like loose debris that just needed to be washed off, and we kind of rinsed off our rug because there were some paw prints on there as well from the mud. You're gonna see some bubbles. I didn't add any soap to it, but when I was cleaning our windows, some of that solution was running down, so when we hit it with the hose, it washed it to the ground and added soap. But it was actually really nice because the rug was a little muddy, and so it just cleaned it right off.
Take our time just to figure it out. Oh, I'll be here when all gets lost. We can count on hope when there's rivers to cross. Oh, and I know our lives will always.
After we got all the concrete clean, I wanted to go through and wipe off a lot of our furniture pieces out here. It is just really dirty and dusty from winter and construction and the rain. It had some pollen on it. I feel like we get pollen here, but not like I see some of the other homes here on like YouTube and Instagram. I'm always shocked. But I just like to wipe down all the pieces, even all those faux plants. Don't forget to wipe those down just so they're fresh and green again. Armrest, chairs, all of that. You definitely don't want to sit down and get your clothes dirty or your guest clothes dirty. So just take one day and just wipe all those pieces down so they're nice and clean. Now it's later in the evening and I picked up the extra 2 cans of spray paint, so I'm able to finish these up. What's nice is when you spray paint, it dries really quickly. So I'm starting this coat in the evening and they're still going to be done and tucked away underneath the porch before we go to bed. Right here you're getting a view of them. They're not completely dry, so if they look a little splotchy, that's why, but you can tell they're drying a little more matte. They're not as glossy as before, but I let them set out and dry. It is windy, so I know that helps dry them some. We're being careful touching them, putting them under the porch. We're not like grabbing the top of them. We're picking them up from underneath, but they are pretty dry, but if they're not, you'll leave fingerprints, so just be careful. But we did have a chance of rain, so I wanted to get them out of the yard and underneath the covered porch just in case any sprinkles came.
But our hearts forever stay the same. I'll be here when things go south. We can take our time just to figure it out.
Everything is looking so nice. I love the black chairs, but when winter came, I pulled in some of our patio chairs to put them at our dining room table, and I never switched them out. And I realized when we were out here, I just wasn't loving the clear chairs anymore, so I pulled our indoor chairs that used to be outdoor chairs to bring them back outside, if that makes sense. So last summer, these were outside over by our fire pit, but I thought they might look really good with the black and the wood table, and it really did. Just changing the silver chairs to black and then the clear chairs to the wicker, I feel like it just changed the style of our patio back here. We also updated this rug in a few videos ago, but I feel like it just brought everything together. It looks very earthy, very organic, which is what I'm loving. So you guys will have to let me know what you guys think down below in the description box. I know you're probably wondering if I changed the dining room chairs. I did actually order new interior chairs, and I think I'm going to have a summer home tour video coming out really soon. It may even be the one after this video, so if you want to see what I replaced them with, definitely be on the lookout for that video. So if you're new here, go ahead and click that red subscribe button, and I will say I went with something different than wicker, so if you want to see what that is, be sure you're following. But now we're gonna start working on my planters. I always hate it all winter when there's no plants in here. It just looks so empty and bare. If you guys know me, I don't love a lot of color, but I love it with cleaning supplies. I love it with Post-it notes, and I love it with flowers. And every year Savannah goes and picks out all the flowers with me, so she gets to choose what flowers go in here. She doesn't really like planting them, she just likes designing them. So these are all the flowers she chose. I like to stick them in the actual planter themselves just to make sure they're gonna fit, and so I just have an idea of where they're gonna go so I can kind of space out the colors. So I'm just doing that, and then I'm splitting them into 2. I pretty much bought 2 of everything because I knew I had 2 planters. We're gonna add some fresh like soil for them because ours had gotten pretty low. It needed to be filled up some, and then I'm gonna get to planting all these flowers.
One of us gotta say the obvious. Nobody loves me better. Nobody loves me
It was really weird to be outside planting flowers but have like leggings and a sweatshirt on. But here in Oklahoma, like the weather has been crazy. We got super warm and hit the 90s. I thought I was going to be putting the pool up in this video, and then it just took a turn and it cooled off, which I'm not going to lie, I love sweatshirt weather, and it was still beautiful enough. We got to go outside and plant flowers and we weren't sweating. So to me, it was like the perfect balance of it. So I really enjoyed it. But just in case you're wondering, that's why I have a sweatshirt on.
One of us gotta say the obvious. Nobody loves me better. Nobody loves me better.
The second planter is always easier because I know exactly how I want to lay it out. I'm a very symmetrical person for the most part, so I make it look like the first one. So I don't want them to look completely different. You totally could. That's just me and my style. So if you see me keep looking up, I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking at the planter to make sure I'm putting the same flowers and plants in the same spots as I did originally. Here is how they turned out. They looked so good. I love that we can see them from like the inside out. Like I can see them when I'm laying in bed. We can see them from the dining room table. I just love the pop of color. It just brings so much life. But now we're gonna head to the back of the yard. You guys have seen us plant these several times. So the first set just got sick. They got some type of disease. So we had to dig them all up, return them, and get new ones. And all of them survived but one. So we're replacing that one. We do have one other that's still green. It's still alive, but it's like not growing at all. So I'm gonna have to keep my eye on that one because I might have to switch it out because I want them to stay somewhat the same size if I can. But we're gonna go ahead and just replace this one for now. But I wanted to show you that tag, so if you need to go back to it and screenshot it. I get asked about these all the time. We love them. We planted them at our last home. They're supposedly fast growers. We've never stayed anywhere long enough to find out, but from what I hear and from what I'm told, they grow super quickly and they're just really good for privacy. And just like that, we're complete again. They're all back there. We did buy a bigger shrub than we normally do. It cost a little bit more money, but I wanted it to be the same size of the original ones we planted, and those had already grown some. Just so you know, if you're buying those, you can buy them for as cheap as like $12. They just start out smaller, and then you can spend more if you want them bigger, so it's totally up to you. But now I'm gonna start decorating with all those items that I picked up from Zulily. So these are blankets right now. Once it gets warmer and we put the pool up, I'll replace them with towels. But right now when we're sitting out here in the evenings, it's a little chilly, so I wanted to put up some blankets. This is right by our fire pit, so we can just grab them. Typically I get out here and I have to go all the way in and get a blanket, and then I feel like I need to wash it before I put it back inside. So this way they're just outside, anybody can grab them and use them, and then you just hang them up when you're finished.
The sun's going down as I try to make my way through the crowd. Feeling alive.
I had one extra throw blanket because these actually came in sets, so I just put it over here in this conversational area just so if you're sitting here and need a blanket. I really love the texture on these. It's not something I would ever really want inside, but I feel like they're perfect for like outdoors. Even if somebody's wet and does kind of need to use it as a towel, it would work as well, and it just makes the space feel really cozy. If it were to rain, obviously I'm going to grab these and put these away. We watch the weather here in Oklahoma, so I'll pull in like throws and pillows, any decor, anything that really needs to be put away before it storms. We're good about doing that. But I also picked up this like wooden planter and a new plant for out here, and I feel like this is a double win because it looks amazing outside on our back porch. but you can also see it from inside our living room, so I feel like it's a win-win. It's like a pop of green that we get to enjoy outside and inside, and I just really loved this plant. I almost put it inside, but then when I realized I could see it from both spaces, I thought it was perfect. And then these lanterns, I had candles in them, but even the faux candles are like kind of made of wax, so they were melting, so I just grabbed these green little plant pieces. Now you could put these in pots, but I just threw them in there, and I feel like it just adds a pop of green to the black, and I love how it turned out. I feel like this back patio has been refreshed, and we didn't spend a lot of money on it. There's a few new decor pieces, we spray painted some chairs. I feel like we haven't done anything major, but we got a completely different vibe from it than last year, and I'm loving it. You guys can see the backyard. I'm glad we finally have that bush replaced. I'm really happy with the way everything's like coming together. We love spending time out here, especially like in the mornings and the evenings. And I just love having tons of seating, so when family and friends are over, and I feel like we've been here a few years and it's finally like all coming together. Just remember, projects take time, even in an influencer's world. It takes time to get things right and get things the way you like it. I was trying to decide where I was going to put these lanterns. First I put them over by the trash can, but I felt like it was bringing too much attention to the trash can, and I really don't want to like point that out. And then I thought, oh, I'll put them over here by the black bench, and it worked out really well. I used to have a side table right there. I need to find another one just so if you're sitting there you have a place for your drink, but honestly that lantern's so big right there it could hold a drink if it had to. But I feel like the black and pop of green just look really good in this area because there's not much green or plants or anything like that. And now we're going to start working on these lights. We did let them set out all day so they have time to charge. It does tell you to do that, and then you just snap the bottom pieces together and hook it to the light, and there's an on and off switch, and you'll just turn that on, and then they charge all day, and then at night they turn on themselves. I'm watching George right here. He gets really needy sometimes and needs us to touch him. He did not like that Chase was working on the lights and I was filming. But these are so easy to use. You don't have to have any electric running to them. They're solar powered. You stick them in the ground and they will light up your flower beds beautifully. We've had these before, but I put them in the ground and then we had our fence sprayed, and so they got stained really bad from staining of the fence and they looked orange, so I've been wanting to replace them. So I finally got them ordered and they're nice and fresh and clear. They don't have stain all on the front. So glad we finally got this project done. I feel like it just takes time. There's always something on the list, and I will say these are so bright and work so well. It probably just helps that they're like nice and clear and clean. Once that like orange stain went over them, I feel like they got a little darker and I could just never get it off there. So that was my error. I should have pulled them up or never put them down before he stained, but it just kind of happened. So I'm glad they're finally replaced, and I feel like they look really good, and I'll show you what they look like as it gets darker. So we use them to like light up the fence in between the shrubs. You could definitely put these in front of the shrubs if you wanted to light up like any of your plants. That's kind of how we did it in the front of our house. But back here we just like the pops of light in between the green shrubs at night. So you can kind of start to see it here. It's starting to get dark. It's going to kind of be hard to tell because my camera's not made to film at night. But I wanted to show you up close what it looks like kind of in the evening when you still have a little light, but not a lot of light. And then next I'm going to show you when it's like fully dark outside. Now that it's really dark outside, you can actually see how bright the lights are, and these are all solar powered lights, and sometimes it's really hard to get solar powered lights to be bright, but I'm super happy with the quality. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, go ahead and click that red subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!